one of the things that I like to look at when I'm weighing how successful or unsuccessful a guy was is how did he stack up relative to how the Lakers were before he got there? It's interesting because nobody seems to bring up when they say LeBron ruined the Lakers or we were better without him, and Laker fans who were so loyal to Kobe that they were spray painting murals for LeBron before he showed up and were never going to like LeBron James. How were those last 5 years before LeBron got there? Because I'm pretty sure they averaged 25 wins per season.
5 straight seasons with fewer than 40 wins, and 3 of those 5 years they had fewer than 30. They were an absolute joke. They surrounded Kobe Bryant, who was on his last legs at that point, literally. Torn Achilles, busted kneecap, Timothy Mozgov, Luol Deng,
terrible contracts.
Roy Hibbert, Carlos Boozer, if we're going to throw him in there towards the end.
Yeah.
A washed-up Carlos. These are the guys they were surrounding Kobe Bryant with in the twilight of his career, and they were a horrible perennial lottery team for the better part of 5 years.
And some of it was because nobody wanted to play with Kobe at that time, who was telling everyone, I'll teach you how to win, like Dwight Howard.
There were recruitment pitches to Dwight. There was a recruitment pitch, I think, to LeBron, if I remember, at one point in time.
LaMarcus Aldridge.
LaMarcus Aldridge was in there. Carmelo Anthony, who eventually ended up coming to the Lakers many years later.
Also washed.
Yeah, but there was a pitch to him. He was not at that point in time, at the very least. They pitched to him to come play with Kobe, who we viewed as a big brother. But all these guys that they pitched, nobody wanted to come.
And then Kobe got the contract, which also eliminated more options because you had to stay under the cap, even though it's not as restrictive as it is now, obviously, with the double apron. But I think about that. And LeBron came in, and that first season, they actually, before he hurt his groin in that Christmas Day game, they were the 4th seed in the Western Conference. You can say they were only 30 games in or whatever it was, but they were playing pretty solid basketball. He misses 17 straight games, and they started to fall apart to the point where even when he came back, there was no salvaging that season. They missed the playoffs entirely. Well, what happened after that? I don't know. Magic Johnson unceremoniously all of a sudden asked out.
I'm not going to be here.
Rob Pelinka takes over. And through having LeBron, they end up getting Anthony Davis.
That's right.
That next season, they are number 1 in the Western Conference, 65 games in about, and then the COVID shutdown happened, which I think needs to be emphasized because people seem to act like the Lakers were some 7th seed or something like that and weren't at the top of the Western Conference while fans were in attendance in arena before the bubble. They were dominant. They were the best seed in the Western Conference with 20 games left.
Their last 2 games before the shutdown, they beat the Clippers and they beat the Milwaukee Bucks, so I believe at the time were the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference.
We go into the bubble. They end up beating the Clippers again. They end up winning the championship. And people use that as a way to diminish LeBron some more, acting like it wouldn't have happened outside the bubble, even though, well, there's one top 3 seed or non-top 3 seed, I should say, that has won in the past 50 years in the NBA, meaning if you're a top seed, as they were, yes, they had a great chance to win. And, oh, by the way, it's funny to me that the same people that would defend the Dodgers championship in Los Angeles in the bubble, saying that actually it was harder because they didn't get the home field advantage they should have had, don't acknowledge that the Lakers would have had home court in the bubble, and yet they didn't and won anyways.
60 games that year.
Not 30, not 50. Well, in the NBA, they played 65 with the Lakers, and they still should have had home court in the playoffs, didn't have it, overcame that, and won the championship and beat the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. You remember all the talk about Portland in the first round and how Portland actually could be the antidote against the Lakers? They have the bigs to match up with Anthony Davis and Damian Lillard.
Oh, even Houston, when they had Russell Westbrook and James Harden, they can't keep up with those guys on the perimeter.
And yet, every time they won, they said, it's the bubble. It's the bubble. In the end, they won because of it being the bubble. I don't think, I have to be honest, like, if Doc Rivers is going to end up playing Montrezl Harrell against Anthony Davis like he did against Montrez with Nikola Jokic in the second round.
That's a bunch of crap.
No, it happened, Doc. I think the Lakers are probably winning that series against the Clippers, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
I think the bubble championship should probably stand.
Well, look, if the San Antonio Spurs in 99, and that was a 50-game season, now granted there's arenas and there's home court and all that stuff, it wasn't neutral, which I think that works to your disadvantage, to be honest with you, that the court is neutral and that you don't have home court advantage, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So if the only person who delegitimizes that Spurs championship is Phil Jackson for the most part.
Right.
So if you're legitimizing that, I don't know how you couldn't legitimize what the Lakers did in the bubble.
But this is one of the crux issues to the people that say it was a failure, LeBron James in his stay in Los Angeles in 8 years. The other thing I would weigh in is, I don't know, the NBA has changed. We haven't had anybody go back-to-back or win twice the last 8 seasons now.
That's right.
It's almost like it's more competitive. There's more parity because of aprons, and they're trying to stop teams from going back-to-back. So comparing things like, well, he didn't do what other Laker greats had done in the past, to me, you're comparing two different, completely different eras. And oh, by the way, you know what? LeBron didn't get here in his prime at 26 or 27 or 28. He got here when he was 34. Should that not be taken into account? Nobody wants to bring up his age like he got here in his prime.
And I don't want it to seem as if I'm caping up for the guy, but we kind of alluded to this earlier, and we talked about Rob Pelinka.
I'm caping up for context.
Well, yes, because that's the thing. Everything falls on the shoulder of the superstar, and we talk about this. You mentioned context in all sports, whether a team wins or not. The surrounding cast that he has had to play with over the majority of his tenure with the Lakers has sucked, royally sucked. The team that they assembled in the bubble struggled a lot offensively, but they had so many defensive dogs, and they can make up for it with LeBron James and Anthony Davis carrying them on offense. Those are the kind of guys that they needed to continue to build around. But instead, whoever you want to blame, whoever you want to listen to, whether it was LeBron and Anthony Davis telling Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka to trade for Russell Westbrook, ultimately, Jeannie and Rob are the ones that signed off on it.
Yeah, the buck stops with them. That is their job.
LeBron James told Pat Riley to fire Eric Spoelstra and told Pat to coach, and Pat told him to go fly a kite.
You're out.
You're the player. I'm the general manager / owner / whatever. You do what I say. Play for Spo. The Lakers could have done the exact same thing with LeBron James, but they were scared. And I think they were scared because they knew that they needed him. Because they knew what the abyss, as Victor Brick would say, they were coming out of, and they wanted to do every single solitary thing that they could to appease him while he was here, because that's what the Lakers do. We take care of our superstars, whether it's monetarily, giving them contracts that they shouldn't be getting, like Kobe Bryant got at the very end, or if it's LeBron James trading for his friends, bringing all his guys in, drafting his son, anything like that. They wanted to do whatever it took to appease him, and in trying to appease him, you actually ended up hurting his ability to compete for championships.
We have heard reports that, yes, Anthony Davis and LeBron James wanted Russell Westbrook. Were there any reports that they wanted a complete roster overhaul after winning the championship and losing wings and never getting two-way players? Oh, by the way, they didn't have Avery Bradley in the bubble because
Correct.
He didn't want to participate, which would hurt your team. They lost one of their wings there and really good defenders, and they still won. But no need to bring that up when you talk about dismissing the bubble championship, I guess. That would be too much context.
You're right. Well, what hurts with, you're breaking up the core. Look at all the guys they sent out to get, because Russell Westbrook was making max. He was making $35, whatever it was, $1 million at the time. So you had to ship out 5-6 guys, literally the core of those guys. Kyle Kuzma, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. There were a couple of others.
Trez.
They don't end up signing or re-signing Alex Caruso, which was just a money-saving measure. We were not in the tax apron situation at that point in time. They didn't sign him to a contract because it was they didn't want to pay the luxury tax.
They could have
which
matched. He asked
easily.
them to match what Chicago was offering. That's
Right.
all. You don't have to go above and beyond. Some people thought that was because of THT, Talen Horton-Tucker, and maybe they did prefer him, but they could have kept both.
No, it was because they didn't want to pay the luxury tax. This is a Los Angeles franchise that did not want to pay luxury tax.
Don't get cheap on me, Dodson.
That is something that I will say, at least now, doesn't give any solace at this point. That's not something that I think the current ownership group would have an issue doing.
Rob Pelinka, I think, has his fingerprints much more on the perceived lack of success in the LeBron James era than LeBron does.
He should.
If you want to give him Russell Westbrook, fine. But you got to at least admit, okay, some of this is because him and Anthony Davis got hurt the 21-22 season. You can even go back to the playoff series in 2021 against Phoenix. They were up 2-1. Anthony Davis goes out.
And once Anthony Davis went down, they all went to crap, and Phoenix made a run.
It's like
they would have beaten the – I firmly believe if they had stayed healthy, they would have made a run at worst of the conference finals that year again.
Sure.
As a 7 seed or whatever they were.
Some of this, the next year, he and AD both missed 40 games. And people are just like, well, why didn't LeBron win more championships? I don't know. Some of the time he was hurt. He obviously wasn't the same player after the Solomon Hill ankle injury that he took. The rosters weren't very good. The league got better around them. It got tougher to play with the new CBA and how you manage rosters and construct them. They had a bad coach in Darvin Ham. There's a ton of reasons that go outside of just – it's because LeBron James isn't the GOAT. It's because he sucks.
Well, that's the easy trope, right? That's the easy thing to go to. They said people don't want to take the time to look at the context of it. LeBron James came to Los Angeles with a stated goal to win championships and be an all-time great, which, by the way, he did. He won a championship.
No,
so
it's the bubble, Kevin.
What are we talking about? And, in the midst of his 8-year run, so what? We're talking 6 playoff appearances, a couple of times to the conference finals, went to the NBA finals, won a championship. All things considered, and then once we break it down and talk about Rob Pelinka and the role that he had in the team not succeeding as well as they could have, I think it was successful, all things considered, considering the circumstances.
The way people talked about the bubble and that championship at the time, I actually pulled Bill Plaschke's article right afterwards. And it was titled, Lakers, LeBron James are now simply the best in NBA history. Now everybody wants to diminish it. At the time, I remember Doc Rivers saying, no, it doesn't deserve an asterisk. It deserves a gold star.
That's a bunch of crap, and y'all
know
know
he said that.
Yeah,
with how difficult it was and how mentally challenging it was for players, too, and how some were saying, this is just pure hoops. There's nothing else to do but hoop here. So this really tells you who the best team is. I remember all the narratives then that people have switched up on now.
Oh, yeah. And I don't know if you say the excuse or the reason why certain teams, maybe folded and didn't play as well is because they were away from their families and outside of their routine, and it was hard for them to mentally focus, and whoever was going to win the championship in that situation was going to be more mentally tough. I think few people are surprised that a Pat Riley team will be mentally tough, that they made it to the finals with the Miami Heat, and they were outgunned by the Lakers. Absolutely, that was the narrative. People said, let's put more credence into this championship, not less.
Let's talk about what this was really about in L.A. and why he wasn't accepted. And it's because it was him versus Kobe for a while. And Lakers fans could never accept that. Something else with Bill Plaschke and what he said. And I love Bill. I adore Bill Plaschke. But I remember after Kobe's passing, that first game, pregame, they're taking on Portland. LeBron goes out there for a speech. And he had his note card with him. And then he threw it and said, you guys wouldn't respect me if I went off this. Bill Plaschke tweeted out and wrote about that now LeBron is finally a Laker. That's what was being said. He had been there for a year and a half, but now he's a Laker. Like, Kobe's passing had to happen for him to be accepted as a Laker? Like, what are we talking about?
Depending on who you ask, even that wasn't enough. He's never been a Laker.
At the time, that was the moment that apparently he ingratiated himself with the fans and was more relatable, and that was it. And when they won the championship, they were all talking about this is for Kobe. It was great, and they were on a mission to do it for them. Now it's Mickey Mouse ring? I'm sorry, but my memory is better than what some people want to frame this as now.
Well, I will say this. I mean, that was Bill's take, and I don't know if that necessarily is a reflection of what a lot of other people felt. There's been a giant narrative of people, and whether that's Kobe stans or people who just never embrace LeBron. LeBron is a polarizing figure regardless if he's playing for your team or not. The idea that LeBron just never embodied what a Laker meant, whatever that's supposed to mean. I'm not sure what – now, it got off to a very tough start, and Adam was at ground zero for this. When he tweeted out the fact – he never tweeted explicitly that he was going to go to a Blaze Pizza location in Culver City, which is a city here in Los Angeles. But he alluded to the fact that he might show up. And was it hundreds? Was it thousands? How many people showed up out there, Adam? Because you were there. You were there on the scene for our local affiliate, AM 570 LA Sports.
A good 500.
Okay.
And I was doing some man-on-the-street reporting, and people were saying stuff like,
"Where the hell you at, man?"
That's right.
There was literally somebody there waiting for LeBron James.
And so the thought was you got off on the wrong foot by doing that and leaving a lot of LA fans out to dry. And there's a part of people that feel like he was a little bit aloof. Like when Shaq was in LA, he had all these charity events and did all these things and was out in the community a lot. I'm not saying that LeBron doesn't have charities and all that, but it certainly is not as front-facing. Even with Kobe. Kobe did the McDonald's Kids Foundation and all. You just didn't see LeBron James do all that stuff and ingratiate himself into the Los Angeles market as other stars had in the past. So I think that's a big reason why many people, they felt like because he was Kobe's contemporary, he probably needed to go that extra mile to further ingratiate himself to the fan base and to the city. And I believe a healthy amount of people believe he never did that. Was he obligated to do that? No, because Mark Medina brought this up earlier too. I'll speak for myself. I've grown up a Laker fan my entire life. And I do view LeBron to be a little bit of a mercenary, which is fine. This was purely transactional from the very beginning. He didn't have to be as beloved to me as Magic Johnson or Kobe Bryant or Shaq or anybody else or Kareem for as long as he was in LA.
You know, maybe he wouldn't be such a mercenary if when he came into the league, he had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to play next to, or he had Shaq to play next to and had success right away instead of being in godforsaken Cleveland with that team.
And that's a fair point to make. But for me, I wanted my team that had been in the doldrums for the past 5-6 years to be in a position where it could win a championship, regardless of how it got there. And if that meant bringing in LeBron James and Anthony Davis and clutch people, then so be it. So as long as it means that my franchise is able to win, that's all I cared about. Whether it was transactional, whether he appealed to my heart, I didn't really care about that.